The reMarkable Paper Pro, the biggest pro about the reMarkable Paper Pro is the paper-like texture. This is, out of all of them, this has got the nicest, the best, most considered paper-like texture. I'm just going to pull it out of its keyboard case. I don't know why that's giving me such a challenge. There we are, because very strong magnets is a priority that they've had with their Paper Pro lineup. I really like this for its paper-like texture. They have certainly prioritized the paper-like texture. They've also prioritized, and it's still very good, that in black and white, it has the lowest latency of anything. And actually, as you'll see later, it's actually even lower latency to the one non-e-ink that we're going to bring into this comparison here today as well. So I find that absolutely fascinating, that actually it's lower latency than some LCD tablets, depending on their processors. So actually it's really, really good. They've definitely prioritized this. This is the best capacitive stylus I've ever used. Okay, that does not make it the best stylus I've ever used, but it's the best capacitive one that I have used. And for just using in black and white, it looks really, really good, although it's quite like blue rather than black. But it's very, very good. And actually the kind of, you know, the handwriting tools and the kind of stroke engine, if you like, whatever the processing to get the stroke right, is very good, even if they're working with a baseline technology, which has that little bit of wobble that for pen enthusiasts, stylus enthusiasts, it's not ideal, but it is really, really good. The Gallery 3 though, I think is where you start to get a bit let down, because although it's nice, the color is pleasant. You can see generally the screen looks a fair bit yellower than a lot of e-ink does, and I find that's not great. And although it's listed as kind of 20 colors, it's making 20,000 colors by divvying the 9 that it can make natively. And the 9 include the free grayscales as well. Every time it does any color other than black or white, then it has to go ahead and flash. And I think that's an issue with Gallery, and I just don't think that it was the best option for this generation, certainly of tablet. The whole thing is really, really nice. It is really, really thin. It is really attractively made. It's a lovely thing, a really nice piece of design. And although they lost their kind of world's finished when they released this thing, it's still 5.1 millimeters thick, which is kind of, you know, your thickness of your iPad Pros of the world. It is a very, very thin tablet compared to anything. I've got things right like a solid battery life, and if I use this every day for sort of my main sort of note-taking use, then I will get about a week with it. Okay, not the 2 weeks that they kind of advertise. I will get like 1 working week. And that tends to be my, you know, it's good enough if you get a working week out of an e-ink tablet, because the way that I use it is that I take it to work on a Monday. I want to have it fully charged on a Monday and know that by Friday, I haven't had to charge it or worry about the charge throughout that working week. Charge it over the weekend and you're ready to go again. And I know, why can't you just charge it overnight? Well, I just don't want other things in my life when I have to charge so many other things like phones and things like this. And also the standby time is great on the reMarkable Paper Pro. One thing about the Gallery screen is that the yellows, I think that you know, if you're looking for content that's got yellow in it, lots of yellow in it, then you've got good yellows on the reMarkable, and that's the color that really stands out. But the blues and the greens are, for me, they're actually nicer now on the latest Kaleido Freeze. So things that aren't so good. So for me, the user interface is very limited. There isn't much else you can do. Now that is either a pro or a con. There isn't a great deal of complexity. It's just only a few things that you can really do on here. There's no app store, it's closed. You know, I personally find it being a closed ecosystem to be a bit of a con, but for some people that might be actually a bonus. Might be actually a plus. There's no browser, there's no native calendar. So if you wanted to use it like a calendar, what you'd have to do is you'd have to go ahead and annotate on a paper calendar, if you like. It's really just, let's think about it like this, it's really just a replacement for paper, and I'm going to keep coming back to that. It does that quite well. If you want to do anything on this, you have to go through the reMarkable Cloud and the Connect service. And of course, that then is a subscription you have to pay as well. So for me, that's a bit of an issue. It does have some features. It does have handwriting to text, for instance, which is in here somewhere. Convert to text, there it is. and it can do that there. And now it can apply that handwriting to text across the whole device and search throughout the whole device, which is also very good as well. And also you have this ability to share via links, and they can be shared to an editable web form of Markdown. Markdown is the kind of language of personal knowledge management systems, the Notion, for example. That's a good thing and a bad thing, but it comes back to another point here, that the reMarkable system, if you're going to use the reMarkable and the reMarkable Paper Pro Move, then you're going to have this issue that you're going to have to use other things as well. They cannot replace all of your kind of tech life, and that's the thing. If you want to do everything that you can do on e-ink, you can't just rely on a reMarkable. It is only an additional set of devices. You don't have to have the Connect subscription, but you're encouraged towards that kind of Connect subscription by certain things. And it's not a lot, it's like $3 a month or something, but over 5 or 10 years of using a reMarkable or the reMarkable Cloud, then that adds up to probably quite a little bit, doesn't it? So although it's really good for working with things like you would on paper, like your notes, like your planner, like marking up PDFs and things like that, that can be quite a good thing on it. It's not something you can get rid of a whole lot of your other digital life, really. That's the subscription issues there. Okay, you really do kind of need to pay that to unlock that. Now, I've already talked about the flashing, and that slows things down. If you sort of think, oh, I want to move along the page, it's kind of like that little bit of extra time to move between your parts of the page because of that flashing. It's reasonably quick when it's just black and white, but when it has to do color, you get this off-putting flashing, in my opinion, and I don't personally like that all that much. So onto the Move itself, and just to give you a quick size comparison first of all, these are both of them the larger of the devices that we're going to look at today, and this is not truly pocketable unless you wear giant overshirts with big pockets. You need, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense actually. You need deep pockets to be able to use these, because they're not only the largest, but they're also the most expensive of the devices that we've got and we're discussing today. The reMarkable Pro Move, if I line it up there, yeah, it's considerably smaller, and it's basically, you'd have this as your on the move device. It isn't quite the full width of the reMarkable Paper Pro, although the device is, the screen isn't. But you can use it tilted on its side like that as well. It's nice, it is light, but it's not, again, it's not as light as some of the other smaller devices that we're looking at today. One big plus of it is that you can use the exact same pens on both, and you get the exact same tool set on both as well, which is, I think that's quite a nice thing. So there's not a lot of friction in moving between. You know, you've got the same tool sets. It's a kind of consistent use across the two things, which is quite important, I think. This is quite nice for doing some quick reading, but I wouldn't use it for anything which is like intense reading, really, because of the screen real estate and because their reader software isn't really up to as much as it kind of could be. I think it does feel expensive compared to some of the other options. And when you think about it, it's only about £150 cheaper than the actual Pro. It's quite expensive for the little guy. Yeah, I think that there's an issue there, really, that maybe you wouldn't balk at the kind of 559, I think, is the minimum for the reMarkable Paper Pro. So yeah, you've got the same app, you know, you've got this consistency, and you've got this really smooth syncing. So if I find this same file over here, it might be that when I have to come out of it. If I come out of it, by the time I've actually found it, go back to my files, photo books to do, you'll see all the scribblings that I've made immediately there on the move. But you can also see that now I have this issue that I'm at 0.5x there. However, rotating it, I get something close to the same size, which I think, you know, they've really taken their time to consider working between the two sizes, and I think that's good. Again, all the same stuff, no app store, no web, no linking to your third-party apps, although they're improving on that as they go, using that Markdown things as well. So what about using them together? I think there's a nice natural pattern. It's a well-considered use case here, that you've got this small guy to carry into your meetings, to get your quick ideas down. Daily agenda would go well on here. I've really liked using it for my daily planner at school. That's been great. That's been a really great time, actually. Just this idea of like capture. You know, and this is an idea from Tiago Forte's Second Brain or from Personal Knowledge Management, but actually having something with you at all times to capture your thoughts. And once you've captured your thoughts, then they're there nice and quickly, not live, as you can see. It hasn't come through live here. I think I have to leave this one and then also go back into that. You see the tick come across there, and now it should be synced up. So pretty quick, you know, and as long as you're one person using this, up to 3 devices on the same account is what you can do, then you're not going to have any issues with syncing at all. And then this guy is for your sit down planning, your long form notes. You can see the size that's come through there. It's my sort of natural size writing on the other guy. This is for your longer form notes. It's a lovely place to write, it really is. And maybe reading PDFs because they're almost full size on here. And yeah, marking up your documents for review. That same OS, same note-taking app, that real link between the two doesn't give you so much cognitive overload. There's no cognitive dissonance. You're doing the same thing on 2 different sizes. And if your workflow involves handwriting, sketching out ideas, maybe reviewing PDFs, in short, things that are to do with paper, then this is a good shout. But if you want direct access to your calendars, your task managers, your to-do lists, things like that, then look elsewhere. If you love using Obsidian, Notion, you need to read web articles live, then all of that stuff has to go in through the plugins, and there are some really good desktop apps and phone apps and plugins, but you have to go through there. Cool, okay, that is my reMarkable Move and reMarkable Pro itself discussion. What do you think of that? Let me know, everybody. There's one more thing that I do want to say before I move on, because this is the best keyboard case that is out there. It's just a shame that it's kind of like a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit stunted by being in this appless ecosystem. Now, it is nice that when you're using this most of the time in its keyboard case, sure, it's a bit thicker now, but there are no keys on the back here. And then when I want to type on it, just this way around, there we go, and it's ready to go. And it is a really, really nice keyboard case for those reasons. Cool, how do you like that? What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the chat, but I do think reMarkable is a good buy. If that Spurs guy says, I want to work out the use case, if it works for your use case, and your use case needs to just be that I want to replace paper. that's just it, basically. Love the earmust options, which is why I didn't go to the 2 Pro. Look at those thumbnails on the Move. Yeah, they're a bit small, aren't they? The keyboard case is very impressive. The screen flash, yeah, does my head in as well. Yeah, I love the Nomad for note-taking much more. Isn't it great? Yeah, incredible form factor on it. About to get a reMarkable Pro just for my writing needs. If you've got the Move and if you really enjoyed the Move, Aaron, then now's definitely a good time to buy that reMarkable Pro. Oh, thank you. Right, so the reMarkable Connect now allows 5 devices rather than 3. Wow. I guess if you're working in a team with 5 people, that might work.